Hi, Democrats. Today is Wednesday, September 28th, and it's time for the Chair's Daily Live. I've had all kinds of technical difficulties this week, but today I want to talk about inflation because the Republicans keep trying to make this race about inflation. So I think it's time that I address inflation. And I think they think it's a winning point. But here's the reality that Oklahomans, I don't know that we care about inflation. I know I personally care about inflation, but when our congressional delegation had an opportunity to actually take real steps to address inflation, they didn't do it. They didn't. They want to whine about it. If they resolve it, then they can't use it as a campaign tactic. And I, for one, don't like the fact that they're taking our everyday tax dollars and what we have to deal with so lightly, that they are disregarding that while they play games and want to talk about inflation, when they actually are in a position to do something about it, that Oklahomans continue to suffer. When they had an opportunity to cap prescription drug prices for seniors, they voted no. When they had an opportunity to cap insulin prices for all diabetics, they voted no. When they had an opportunity to vote against to stop gas gouging pricing, they voted no. So is it that they care about inflation, or is it they want to keep it as an issue now that, they think that Roe is a resolved issue, which it is not? They've moved on and they're trying to figure out what is their next issue. What is the next thing that they're going to scare Democrats about? What's the next thing that they're going to use to get their base riled up and out? They've decided that it's inflation. So let's just be real about it. Our governor, our current governor, our temporary governor is out there saying that we have the best economy. He's bragging about our economy. Republicans, Oklahoma Republicans, you can't have it both ways. Either we have a great economy or Oklahomans are running scared about inflation. Can't have it both ways. So let's talk about kitchen table issues. Gas prices were a nightmare, and they're still higher than what we had last year, but raising gas prices are part of life. They're higher than they were when I first got a car. They're higher than they were when I got out of college. They're going to be higher, but they're not where they were. And that's because the Democrats in Congress voted for stopping the price gouging. Let's talk senior medication prices. Being able to negotiate, Medicare being able to negotiate is a big freaking deal. It's a big deal. My grandmother is a cancer survivor. One of her medications, just one of her medications, is without insurance, is $800 a month. So the relief that she will get when we start capping medication prices for seniors it's unspeakable. It's wonderful. Insulin prices. I have diabetics in my family. Fortunately, they haven't told me any stories about rationing their insulin versus groceries, but you've heard those stories. I've heard those stories. They're true. And I guess if it was up to the Republicans in Oklahoma, they're okay with that because they voted against capping insulin prices. And so while they're all over Twitter and all over local news talking about how Oklahomans are concerned about inflation and how that's the biggest issue, I'm asking them, what is their plan? Because when they had an opportunity, they voted against it. Let's talk about the governor and grocery tax. Emily Virgin, the leader of the Democratic, the leader of the minorities in the state house, which is the Democrats, Emily Virgin put up a plan about reducing grocery tax. It got summarily shut down. Now the governor's all over the place acting like he came up with that idea, bragging about it and talking about how it's a Republican idea when Democrats didn't have an idea. Let's be clear. Emily Virgin is a Democrat. Emily Virgin put forth a bill to eliminate grocery sales tax. And the Republicans in our state shot it down. Now people are talking about it like it's some Republican idea. Let's be real. They have no plan to address inflation. No plan. And they're stealing our good ideas and touting them as their own. And then they're acting like the Inflation Reduction Act and the parts about the Inflation Reduction Act that are helping Oklahomans, they're not even talking about it. They're acting like they're not happening. They are happening. You can feel it at the grocery store. You can feel it at the pump because gas prices have been coming down. So let's be real. Who cares about inflation? Democrats, and Democrats deliver. They are going to continue to try to scare you about inflation. The question you need to ask is, what are they doing about it? What are they doing about it? Ask a Democrat. They'll tell you, because Democrats deliver. So instead of just asking the Democrat, ask them when you show up with your tennis shoes because you're ready to go help knock doors. Ask them when you show up with your car because you're ready to drive them around, or when you show up with your pen because you're going to help write postcards. But do what you can to support the Democrats, because we're not going to fake it. We're not going to pretend like we care about a thing and not do anything about it. We're going to talk about the thing. We're going to do something about the thing. Democrats deliver. And what we need to do as Oklahomans is to recognize it, support our Democrats, and show up. Drag folks to the polls if that's what we need to do. But we need to educate ourselves about who's on the ballot and what's on the ballot. We need to educate everybody that we're around. And we need to make a plan and help 10 other people make a plan. We have to change what is happening in our state. Our entire delegation is Republican. Our entire delegation voted against all of the things that would have reduced some of our inflation indices. Thank goodness for the Democrats from other states, because they saved us. Our folks voted against it. Our folks voted against it. They want to talk about inflation, and they want to continue to litigate the election from 2020. We are based in reality. But the reality is we have to show up at the polls. That's the only way we get Democratic leadership, is if Democrats show up at the polls. So you knew I was going to come and talk about getting to the polls. I'm not going to forget it. Show up at the polls, drag some folks with you. We are so close. We are so close, but it only happens if we show up at the polls. Thanks for joining me, even with all my technical difficulties and waiting. Thanks for joining me, and I'll be back here tomorrow at 4:15. I'll get this worked out. I'll be back here at 4:15. You guys have a great evening.